Today I will be presenting the requirements and documentation for the Smith's home search. First of all, we'll go over the requirements that the family and I have agreed on. We have both functional and non-functional here. First of all, and probably most importantly, we need to stay under $200,000, and that would be, the total purchase price. So if we find something listed a little bit higher and can offer something lower, we can do that. But I would try to stay below $200,000 for the list price as well, if possible. They're looking for a ranch with a basement that's partially finished, or a two-story home, at least 1,500 square feet on the inside, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms at the minimum. They would like the house to be a newer house that's less than 20 years old. Looking for a 2-car insulated garage with some extra space and about a half-acre lot in town. Some non-functional requirements: they would like to live in a family-friendly neighborhood with good schools, close to local entertainment, a little bit of space from their neighbors. They would like the home they buy to have good resale value. They're looking to maybe resale around, in 7 years or so. Commute time to be less than 45 minutes. And they like the home to be mostly updated. Some small updates would be okay, but they are not looking to fix anything up. All right. Next, here's some user stories for the family. We have Timothy Smith, who is the head of the household, the dad, and his user story is: Dad wants a home that requires minimal updates and work. Mom, Gloria Smith, wants a home in a family-friendly neighborhood with good schools. One of the children, Freddie, wants a home with his own room to play and sleep in. And Olivia wants a home that is close to local entertainment. Next, I found a prototype that was on the market. This is in Wausau on South Street. Some of the highlights of the home is it's listed at $192,000. It's got 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, 2,338 square feet. It is a ranch-style home and only 17 years old. How this prototype meets requirements. So here are all the requirements from the first slide. They're all the same that was on the first slide. I just put check marks next to each one because this prototype that I found does meet every single functional and non-functional requirement. Next, my decision model, decided to use a decision matrix. You see this first column here. This is the prototype that I was just speaking about. And then I found 2 other homes in Wausau, and one was in Weston. I'm sorry, both of them were in Weston. The South Street one is in Wausau. And here I've just compared the different costs, list prices, the different locations, different sizes, their age, the architecture, interior, and different features of each home. And then here is the scores that I used from this decision matrix. Now this was me scoring them. I thought that the cost and location were 2 of the most important things, so those had more value to them, and the rest I just assigned 10 to be the top score that each house could get, for a total of 100. So you can see here, we had cost was all about the same, but the Jean Ellen Street was the most expensive, so I gave them 24 out of 30. The South Street home the Ray James Street home was the least expensive, so I gave that a 30 out of 30. So on and so forth down the line here. I'm not going to explain every single one, but you can see here the score of each at the bottom. So South Street, I got 92%, Jean Ellen Street 79%, and Ray James Street 80%. And then their rank being South Street being 1, Ray James 2, and Gene Allen 3. So overall, looking at this matrix that I designed here, out of these 3 homes, the 1305 South Street meets the most, well, it meets all the requirements and would be the best home out of these 3 for this Smith family. Next here, I created a use case diagram for the home search here. So we have the family on the left, Timothy, Gloria, Freddie, and Olivia. And then mortgage lender, realtor, and seller on the right. We have the first step of getting pre-approved for the mortgage, and I just have Timothy, Gloria, and the mortgage lender hooked up to that one. Then once they have that pre-approval, they need to agree on requirements, just basically between them as a family, what they want in their home. But I also have the realtor here because once they agree on the requirements, the realtor will need to know what those are. And then once we have those requirements, the realtor can go out and find homes that meet them and schedule showings or tours where hopefully the whole family can tour the home along with the realtor. And then once they find a home they like, we have them closing on the home, which includes basically just the parents, Timothy, Gloria, realtor, mortgage lender, and seller are all going to be at closing. And finally, once the home is closed on, they'll move into the home. Then here we have user acceptance criteria based on the requirements. So these is just like the bare minimum that this family is looking for. They need at least 3 bedrooms and at least 2 bathrooms. The price needs to be either $200,000 or less. The home needs to be less than 20 years old. At least a 2-car attached insulated garage, at least 1,500 square feet, at least a half an acre lot, and less than a 45-minute commute to work, which for Timothy and Gloria is from Merrill. Next here I have an ideal floor plan. Now we cannot, because the family is not building a brand new home, they can't create their own floor plan. So I did find just something that I think they would like, and obviously if there's not a home for sale in the area they're looking that looks exactly like this, it's not going to be feasible. However, this is just a ranch style home. You can see over here on the left I put kind of the dimensions and what it all has. This one is 2,160 square feet with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a 2-car garage. Sorry. I mean, you can kind of just look at the layout. You got the garage here. You have the main living area here. Everything on one floor, which is what they were looking for here. And I just thought this was a really nice, ideal floor plan that we could go over together with the family and just see their thoughts on it, and then try to find a home that is close to that or matches something similar. Next, we have a school report card. This is Riverview Elementary School, and this is the school they would go to if they did purchase the home on South Street, which you remember before was the prototype, and also from my decision matrix, the one that ranked number 1 out of the 3 other homes that we were looking at. So if they did decide to buy this home, their children would go to Riverview Elementary School, and this is the school report card. Obviously there's room for improvement, but it's not by any means a bad school. If you look over here, student achievement, you have their school score of 70.9, and in the state 69.4, so they're a little bit above or right around average there. School growth is below 24.3, and the state is 66. The school's not growing that much. However, the next 2 down here, we have closing gaps. They are scoring 72 out of 100, where the state is at 58.8, so that's quite a bit higher in English, math, and the graduation rate. And then on track and post-secondary readiness, they also scored a little bit above average. So overall, I would say this is a good school. And also just keep in mind, you can't really totally grade a school based off of, test scores and that sort of thing. But however, this is the data that's out there to look at. Next, I just have some things about the Wausau area. We're looking at the South Street home as being the #1 choice out of the 3. So as opposed to looking at Weston, we're looking here at Wausau. Wausau is a huge community. You can see here recreation information. There's tons of things to do. 57 local and county parks. They have state parks, 8 different swimming and wading pools for the kids, 6 different bowling centers for the kids, cross-country ski trails, snowmobile trails, bike trails, lots of different trails to do things on. There's also 2 YMCAs. So you can just see there's a lot of recreational things to do in Wausau. And along with that, they also do have a lot of fun events throughout the year. If you look over here, you got Winterfest, you have the Wisconsin Woodchucks games, which would be close by, actually very close by to this home on South Street, just a couple miles away. And I'm not going to read all these off, but as you can see, there are a lot of different things to do in Wausau. And last but not least, this is the model I use using business process model notation, BPMN. This first one is buying a house. So we have our start point at the head of the household, in this case would be Timothy, but he would need to apply for the mortgage. Once he applies, the mortgage lender would need to approve the application and get him pre-approved. Once that happens, it goes back to him to figure out the requirements and communicate those to his realtor, and then back up to the business analyst or the realtor, whoever you want to say that. They need to find homes that fit those requirements and then schedule the showings. And then we come down here, the seller will show the home, and it could be more than one home that's being shown, but once they find a home they like, we'll go back over here to put an offer on the home. So from show home up to the head of the household, obviously he'd probably want to agree with his wife on an offer. They'd put an offer on. Either the seller would counter or accept that offer, coming down here. And once it's accepted, we would have the home inspector inspect the home, the appraiser appraise the home. And then finally, if both of those 2 things go well, you would close on the home back here with the mortgage lender. And then last but not least, using the BPM and model notation, here is what it would look like to sell a house. Let me move this. So we would start here with the business analyst who would list the home, put it on the market, and find some, sorry, again, keep clicking on accident, list the home, find some people who are interested and schedule an open house, and then, if they don't find a buyer from the open house, schedule some individual showings. The seller would need to prepare the home for those showings and for the open house. And then the realtor or the business analyst would show the home. Once they find someone interested, that buyer is going to put an offer on the home. Seller will accept the offer. And just like before, after the offer is accepted, the home will be inspected and appraised, and then they'll close on the home, and that'll be it. So I hope all this made sense, and if you have any questions, just let me know.